Wanted to show you some articles I thought were pretty interesting here. There's some intel saying that the president may start a financial reset from Camp David here. Do your own research, come to your own conclusions. Do not take anything without a grain of salt, at least. Thursday, August 22nd, the RV was released when U.S. Thunderbirds and British Red Arrows flew down the Hudson River at opening bell of the stock market, signifying the death of the fiat system and activation of a new quantum financial system. Mad Dog Exchange became partially liquid and was promised the first Zim bond payout by October 1st. Since then, people have been called into the exchange and redeem. According to instructions given of a group leader, reset holdups have been due to the cabal interference in attempted exchange of their currency, which would not be allowed. The IMF would move forward with the RV in 190 countries without delay. POTUS was at Camp David, where he would release the 800 numbers, whatever that means. Liquidity of funding for exchanges would be available as of September 3rd. Appointments for private exchanges of currency and Zim bond redemptions were expected to begin September 3rd through September 11th. What awesome dates, eh? Iraq would be the first country to exchange currency. The Iranian Raoul would be the first basket of currencies to exchange. The cabal deep state would do everything within their power to cause delay. In the event of a stock market crash, a state of emergency would be declared through executive order. Shockwave, September 1st, 2019. Let's see here. See if we can click on that. Oh, these news ads are going to be so annoying. Nope. Bad link. The military was on high alert with expected major political and economic changes, disclosures on and arrest of major figures, plus mass arrest trials in tribunals worldwide. And it's odd that we have a huge Category 5 hurricane, which should be a Category 7 with 180 plus mile an hour sustained winds, 200 miles an hour gust, pounding the Bahamas right now. You know what's in the Bahamas? You know what I mean? And taking aim at Florida. I mean, I see definitely a state of emergency already being declared for that. And then to have news of all this is very suspicious. September 1st, Sunday. I'm good. How you doing? I'm just going over some interesting news articles I found here on this little blog post. Restoration of the Republic for the United States of America was expected to be completed though not announced, until September 15th, or perhaps October 1st. Liquidity of funding for exchange would be available. See if we have anything else about this. Hey, Dennis. How's the weather out there? It's beautiful here in Virginia. January 1st, 2020, a national retail sales tax code would become effective. President T-Man on July 3rd signed an executive order, content unknown, covering tax laws until January 1st, 2020. Was also the date for the reset of the second basket of foreign currencies. You can pause this video and read some more of this. When you call an 800, do not give out serial numbers, currency bonds, or other things. Oh wow, this is a lot of awesome information. This is the website. Let me pull it up here real quick so you guys can see it. It's got some really cool articles. It is operationdisclosure1.blogspot.com, by the way, where I'm getting these. Serial Brain 2, it's time for a QAnon storm. Buckle up. Alright, Shockwave, September 1st. Operation Disclosure Newsletter. China will continually be weakened via economic pressure over the next few months. President T-Man will continue to cut off trade and bring home all U.S. businesses operating in China. Also, China is currently walking on thin ice with the situation in Hong Kong. The possibility of another Tiananmen Square massacre is on the verge of occurring. Either scenario will result in the people of China to revolt against the communist totalitarian government and call for reforms, similar to Hong Kong except nationwide. Sorry about the background, they're cutting blocks at my neighbors. They're adding an addition to his house. The Earth Alliance expects the Chinese government to surrender and begin reforms prior to any destabilization or revolt. Another communist totalitarian government in North Korea, Kim Jong-un, is aware of the Earth Alliance's agenda, GESURA, and is willing to accept unification of the Korean Peninsula. Communism must be eradicated worldwide, as it cannot exist post-transition. According to sources, Iraq will become the first country to officially use the gold standard. This will send a shockwave through the global economy, triggering the collapse of the fiat financial system and causing the US dollar to drop significantly. Declass will continue while the US dollar drops and the Federal Reserve will be blamed. Meanwhile, the stock market will also begin collapsing simultaneously. President T-Man will declare a state of emergency and return to the gold standard via executive order to save the US dollar. Once the gold standard returns, the Federal Reserve will finally be abolished. The Iraqi dinar will be the first currency to be redeemed. Other currencies will be redeemed once revalued after the IMF announces a global gold treaty, calling on all countries to use the gold standard. Interesting. And this next article I'm going to try to find here is about not Henry Kissinger's secret trip to meet Chinese leaders. No. Older posts. It's interesting. America, for the first time since World War II, pulled all of their aircraft carriers, battleships, everything, destroyers, back to home port. It was announced in December of 2016, and they came back to all the ports to get upgraded. It wasn't disclosed what the upgrade was, the technology, but a lot of people are saying in the know, rumor has it, that it's a Tesla shield, some kind of electromagnetic shield around the ship that can intercept or be like a electronic dome for the new hypersonic missiles that Russia and China were developing and releasing in the news shortly after. Let's see if I can pull up that article. It's very, very interesting. China aims to replace Hong Kong with a city bigger than Silicon Valley. New Silk Road comes to Latin America. Neoliberal order crumbles. Restored republic. Let's see here. Oh, here it is. This is very, very interesting right here. Yeah, it's a beautiful day. It is beautiful. Are U.S. carriers, aircraft carriers, protected by electromagnetic Tesla shields? 8/30/2019. Tesla shields. This is interesting. In January 2017, all U.S. aircraft carriers recalled to their home ports for unknown upgrades. There has been much speculation about what the carriers have been secretly equipped with, given the growing threats posed by hypersonic cruise missiles against which the carriers appeared defenseless. The 2018 release of the Navy patent provides a compelling answer to what had happened during the recall. The carriers were secretly equipped with powerful electromagnetic Tesla shields that could neutralize all hypersonic and ballistic missile threats. In January 2017, several news reports appeared describing the recall of all U.S. aircraft carriers to home ports and how, for the first time, none were actively serving anywhere in the world. On December 30th, 2016, a Fox News report explained. For the next week, not only will there be no U.S. Navy aircraft in the Middle East, but there will be no American aircraft carriers deployed at sea anywhere else in the world. Despite a host of worldwide threats facing the United States, the absence of a deployed U.S. Navy aircraft carrier, long seen as a symbol of American power projection, is noteworthy. It is believed to be the first time since World War II that at least one U.S. aircraft carrier has not been deployed. When the U.S. Navy has questioned by Fox News the recall of all its aircraft carriers in the Middle East, a Navy spokesman said, "We are not going to discuss the timing of operational movements of carrier strike groups into and out of the U.S. Central Command Area of Responsibility," said Captain Terry Shannon, a U.S. Naval Forces Central Command spokesman, in a statement to Fox News. CENTCOM is tasked with control over all U.S. forces in the Middle East and Afghanistan. Read the full article here. Interesting. Exopolitics.org. Oh wow. Are U.S. carriers carrying are secretly protected by electromagnetic Tesla shields? Wow. You can replay this video and pause it and read all this. The lack of explanation for the recall led to much speculation, including some concluding that the recall was done to set up the U.S. for a major Fantastic Freddy. And what can only be described as a disproportionate and appropriation of U.S. Navy assets, a blatant breach of standard protocol, and a possible setup for a Fantastic Freddy operation. The entire U.S. Navy aircraft group, 10 active carriers, have returned to port and are now all sitting ducks. I guess this was back in 2017, because all this has already been completed. By the end of January 2017, the Navy began deploying its aircraft carriers, and the recall was quickly forgotten. In order to understand why the aircraft carriers were recalled and what they may have been upgraded with, we need to consider the growing threat posed by cruise missiles capable of hypersonic speeds. I mean, they've got laser technology now, they've got rail guns, they've got Space Force, which was just they've got Space Force. Yeah, I do a lot, I can't help it, I giggle. They've got Space Force with secret technology, those two Air Force, they look like little miniature space shuttles with top secret payloads. They won't discuss it. One's been up in the air. I guess it's been reported on Marfoogle. Over 700 days now. It just broke a record. It's kind of weird what it's doing up there. What is its whole thing? And then there's that article with Iranian, sorry for the word, missile that had been somehow destroyed. It said it was a malfunction, and then President T-Man put a little tweet up with a picture of the launch pad with the rocket all messed up and burnt, and then I guess the Iranian spokesman put up a tweet showing that the satellite was still intact and they didn't destroy it, and who knows what the background story of that is. But we've got all this technology coming out, and if you see that new movie, yes, definitely meet up sometime if you're local. It's good to reach out local groups, but we've got all this secret technology coming out, and nanotechnology, AI technology, robots, drones. Could you imagine the drones getting so miniaturized they could become mosquitoes, gnats, flies, fleas, bio warfare, infections? Maybe even these nanobots are on a micro scale where they can connect to the 5G that's coming out. Maybe that's the whole push for the 5G. Maybe the whole Neuralink thing has already happened. You know, the technology that's disclosed is always 30 years behind. I mean, if they're talking about Neuralink now, they probably were already developing it 30 years ago. With all the MK Ultra and mind control stuff, that was like the test bed. And this technology, it might be in our food supply, the vaccines, the drugs, everything. I mean, if you control the food, you control the population, and control the money, you control the population. Those New World Order NWO guys or Illuminati guys said way back in the 1700s. And if these micro nanobots are in our food or in our air, I mean, whatever's being sprayed from, plane farts, could even have CRISPR technology. Yeah, it's all CRISPR DNA editing technology. Could you imagine that? A little nanobot in your bloodstream going and attacking all your telomeres and your DNA strands and reorganizing them, editing them. It's like a re-education camp inside of your body, and there's nothing you can do about it. Imagine that. And I see all these lists being created by Facebook, Google, and all these wealthy technology firms making lists of people they don't agree with, or people like me, or even everybody that follows or watches these kind of channels or Marfoogle News. I mean, anybody that does not agree with global climate change, and you got to pay a banker if your car farts too much, you should pay a banker tax for that. I mean, come on, seriously. But anyways, let's see if we can get back into this. I first wrote about cruise missiles developed by Russia and China and sold to countries like Iran that continue to threaten aircraft carrier battle groups back in November 19th, 2007. In the article titled "The Neoconservative Agenda to Sacrifice the Fifth Fleet, the New Pearl Harbor." Yeah, to generate a new war. Iran has sufficient qualities of cruise missiles to destroy much or all of the Fifth Fleet, which is within range of Iran's mobile missile launchers strategically located along its mountainous terrain overlooking the Persian Gulf. The Bush administration is deliberately downplaying the vulnerability of the Fifth Fleet to Iran's advanced missile technology, which has been purchased from Russia and China since the late 90s. The most sophisticated of Iran's cruise missiles are the Sunburn and Yankants. These are missiles against which U.S. military experts conclude modern warships have no effective defense. I further describe the capabilities of the cruise missiles sold to Iran as follows. The SSN-22, or Sunburn, has a speed of Mach 2.5, or 1,500 miles an hour, uses stealth technology, and has a range of 130 miles an hour. It contains a conventional warhead, 750 pounds, that can destroy most ships. Of even greater concern is Russia's SSN-X-26 Yankants missile, which has a range of 185, which makes all U.S. Navy ships in the Persian Gulf vulnerable to attack. More importantly, the Yankants has been specifically developed for use against carrier groups and has been sold by Russia on the international arms trade. Over the subsequent decade, cruise missiles payloads and speeds have increased to the extent Russia has now developed missiles that can travel 5 times the speed of sound. At his February 20th, 2019 State of the Nation address, President Vladimir Putin publicly announced the existence of the first hypersonic cruise missiles, which the Pentagon had determined under development and testing since 2015. This is a hypersonic missile called Tiskaron. It will have the speed of Mach 9 and a range of 620 miles, and it can hit Navy and or land targets. In December, CNBC learned the U.S. intelligence report had highlighted testing of the Tiskaron hypersonic system, noting that 5 tests have been carried out by the Russian military since 2015. Putin had previously described Russia's hypersonic prowess as invincible and accused those who have fueled the arms race over the last 15 years of failing to contain Russia. China is not far behind Russia in developing these cruise missiles capable of hypersonic speeds. Currently has a number of hypersonic ballistic missiles that can be deployed against aircraft carriers. On July 2019, Elizabeth Shim from the UPI reported China plans to deploy mid-range ballistic missiles capable of destroying U.S. aircraft carriers by 2020, according to multiple state media reports. China Times and others reported Tuesday the Dongfeng 17 is Q, interesting enough, is a mid-range rocket that could be used to sink an entire U.S. aircraft carrier. Why did they use the word entire? You think you're going to sink part of the aircraft carrier and the rest is just going to continue to float? The threat posed by hypersonic cruise missiles and ballistic missiles to aircraft carriers and their support ships is well understood by senior Navy leaders and researchers, according to a March 6 story. You can read this later if you want. Very interesting. And I'm sure this goes with a Tesla shield illustration. Very interesting article. And with all the asteroid threats that are suddenly coming out of nowhere, every other day or every day it seems like there's another asteroid that just missed hitting Earth by like 3 distances of the Earth or moon. Like, it's crazy. And asteroids the size, and they compare them to towers now. The Tower of Babel kind of comparisons. The Eiffel Tower or the Giza Pyramid size asteroid almost hit Earth. And they're naming these asteroids really weird, like 2019 OK and 2019 QQ. I mean, come on. It was so weird. Like, the last powerful hurricane we had was Hurricane Michael. It sounds like Archangel Michael or something. On a certain date, landed, hit the panhandle of Florida and completely smashed it. Looked like Andrew afterwards. And we got this new hurricane, which is making that hurricane look like a small tornado, F1 tornado or something. This Hurricane Dorian. And the name Dorian is peculiar also. But make of it what you will. And once again, this article is very interesting. The original website is Disclosure 1, Operation Disclosure 1, at blogspot.com. You can just Google it, Operation Disclosure 1, and it'll come up, the first one. Thanks, guys. There's some other interesting articles I will share later. See if I can end this